Okay, be honest. If two people get brutally murdered inside a locked house in the middle of the day, and the only adults in the house says, "Oh my, what happened?" You're looking at them a little sideways, right? Hi, lovelies. How are we today? I'm Summer. This is All Day Mystery. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We are going to go over a case today that you will need to stay tuned for. So grab some coffee, grab some tea, sit down, relax. Let's do this. Okay, we're in Fall River, 1892. Hot, humid, no AC, bad vibes. Inside 92 2nd Street lives Andrew Borden, rich and aggressively cheap. Abby Borden, the stepmother nobody bonded with. Lizzie, grown, unmarried, still at home. Emma, the sister, conveniently out of town. Bridget, the maid, outside washing windows in the heat like, I do not get paid enough for this. August 4th, 1892, aka the worst morning ever. Abby goes upstairs to make the guest room. She makes the guest bed. She never comes back down. She's hit 18 to 19 times with a axe or a hatchet. They weren't really sure. An hour later, Andrew naps on the couch. He's hit 10, 11 times. Fun fact, that saying Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks, when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41, was not based on evidence, testimony, or the autopsy. It was a playground gossip that turned into American legend. So, on with the story. Lizzie yells for Bridget, "Come quick, father's dead." Not someone's here, not, "We've been attacked," just, "Father's dead." Real calm, real specific. The things that make you go, ma'am. The day before, Lizzie tries to buy poison. This came from the owner, and apparently she said that she bought this before. Before, why not now? And a day before they were axed, they all had the stomach flu. Is that connected somehow? A few days later, Lizzie, she burns a dress. Oh, that old thing? Paint? No blood on her. None. Zero. No forced entry. Doors locked. Timeline? Tighter than your favorite leggings. And Bridget is outside the whole time thinking, I heard nothing. I saw nothing. I am not getting involved in this. Probably a good idea since they didn't even call her by her name. They called her Maggie. Why? Oh, no reason. Except in Fall River in the 1890s, apparently every Irish maid just got rebranded as Maggie. Like it was a present setting. Even Lizzie Borden called her Maggie. Imagine being a key witness in one of the most famous murders cases in American history. Two people get axed in your workplace. And history still goes, yes, the maid, whatever her name was. That tells you everything about how invisible Bridget was in that house. Oh, okay. But can we talk about the uncle? The random uncle who shows up like this is a sitcom or something. So enters John Morris. He is Andrew Borden's brother-in-law, of his first wife that died when Lizzie was little. Doesn't visit often, not a regular, not a pop-in guy, but somehow he just happens to come to Fall River the night before the murders. And where does he sleep? The guest room. You know, the room where Abby Borden is killed the very next morning. Sir. So Abby goes upstairs that day to make the bed because Uncle Morris stayed there. And that's how she ends up exactly where the murder happens. If he doesn't visit, she's probably not even in that room. That is the most accidental butterfly effect. Why are you here, Uncle John? Moment in true crime. Now, to be fair, he leaves the house that morning. People see him all over town. Solid alibi, never charged. But the timing, suspicious enough that you can just tilt your head and say, "Sir, your guest appearance was unnecessary." And I'm sure he wasn't happy when he heard about it. Now, the theory gets even wilder. He set it up. She carried it out. I mean, the rumors of possible abuse from the father, I mean, maybe. The trial that turned into reality TV, 1893 edition. This becomes the trial of the century. Newspapers everywhere, spectators, drama, but forensic in 1893, basically a vibe. The axe couldn't be proven as the weapon. Her poison attempt testimony gets thrown out. And apparently, they did an autopsy on both the parents. Nothing was found. All male jury, they deliberated about an hour. Verdict, not guilty. America, wow. Acquitted, but not really. Legally free, socially cooked. Kids started jumping rope to Lizzie Borden, took an axe, and you know the rest. She inherited the money, moves to a nicer house, and the town still treats her like she's walking around with an axe in her purse. Even her sister, Emma, eventually moves out. That part, loud. Looking further into this after everything, Lizzie Borden gets acquitted. Like, fully walks. And suddenly she and her sister Emma are sitting there like, well, now what? First thing they do not stay in that house in Fall River. Oh, no. Not even a little bit. No fresh start energy at 92 2nd Street. They were like, absolutely not. Pack it up. Let's get out. Because that home tied to Andrew Borden and everything that happened, yeah, it became less family home and more townwide whisper museum. So, what do they do instead? They upgrade. Big time upgrade. They move to a much nicer area called The Hill and basically go, new house, new vibe, new chapter. Please stop looking at us. Can you blame them? I mean, if they're innocent, can you blame them? And at first, they try to live together peacefully, which is adorable because that didn't last. Eventually, Emma moves out and Lizzie stays in the upgraded house alone. Just her money, and the entire city of Fall River still side-eyeing her from across the town. So technically, she won financially. Anyway, socially, that town never let it go. And honestly, imagine upgrading your life, but the entire world still associates you with the old address. The theories of this. Okay, so let's think like a detective for just a second. If it wasn't Lizzie, who? Who was it? A stranger breaks in, commits 2 loud murders, and leaves unseen. Bridget, the maid, secretly knows more. Was this years of tension with a stepmother that finally snapped? Because here's the part nobody can get over. She was the only one who could have done it, and yet they couldn't prove she did it. Lizzie, that is. First problem, no real physical evidence, none. No fingerprints, no DNA, no aha moment, just a house in Fall River full of confusion and bad timing. Second problem, the weapon. There was a hatchet or an axe, whatever you want to call it, head found, but it wasn't clearly proven to the weapon. It was like this could be it, or this could be literally any tool in the 19th century basement. Third problem, no witnesses. Nobody saw the murders happen. Nobody saw anyone come or go. The house was basically a closed door mystery with zero receipts. So the prosecution is standing there like, we think she did it. And the defense is like, cool story, prove it. And that's the whole issue, because in court, thinking isn't enough. You need proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So the jury listens, blinks, and for about an hour goes, yeah, we're not convinced. And just like that, Andrew Borden and Abby Borden have one of the most famous unsolved style verdicts in history. So technically, it's not that she was proven innocent. It's that the case was basically built on suspicion, confusion, and a crime scene that refused to tell its secrets. So why this case still lives rent-free in our heads? This wasn't a dark alley. This was broad daylight inside a home with locked doors. And the person at the center of it calmly called for help like she just found a spider in the sink. I mean, I don't really say that very calmly, but she probably does. That's what makes the case chilling, though. So either Lizzie Borden is the unluckiest woman in history or the calmest axe murderer to ever exist. And there's a lot of them out there. And honestly, I don't know which one is scarier. And the house where everything happened to Lizzie Borden and her parents, that is still standing today in Fall River. And it's not just sitting there empty like a normal, please forget this happened type of house. No, it's now a Lizzie Borden house, which means people literally book a room and sleep there. Yes, in the same building, tied to Abby Borden and the entire 1892 case involving Andrew Borden. Because nothing says vacation like historical trauma tourism. I mean, I'd be into it. I'd be into going. I'm not gonna lie. But sleeping, nah, I'll have to think about that one first. I don't think I would sleep at all. During the day, it's a very polite guided tour. Victorian furniture, this is where it happened, explanations. People quietly taking photos like they're in a museum. But the night comes and the energy shifts a little, because this house has a reputation. Now, I'm not saying it's haunted. I'm saying people have reported footsteps when no one is there, doors opening or closing on their own, voices in empty rooms, sudden cold spots in hallways, and should not be cold in those hallways. And of course, once you hear that, your brain immediately goes, oh, perfect. I will now never relax again. So imagine this. You're a guest. You're in a Victorian style room. The house is silent. And suddenly you hear a creak upstairs. And you just lie there thinking, okay, either it's history or I need to stop watching true crime before bed. And her house she moved to after this whole thing happened is a private residence. So not much is talked about that house, but it's still there. I wonder if they see Lizzie sometimes. Have you guys watched any of the ghost hunters go into this house, the Lizzie Borden house, that is? Because you can't go into the private residential one. It changes some of their minds about Lizzie. My mind still hasn't changed, but I guess I haven't visited this house. So, who knows? Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that she's guilty? Not guilty? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Because 130 years later, we're still arguing about a woman, an axe, and a house that swears it saw everything. If only houses could talk. maybe we're not supposed to find out. Honestly, with all the facts, Lizzie was inside that house. The doors were locked. The people say those walls are thin and you can hear everything. If she didn't do it herself, she had to be involved somehow. People around her said she's always got her way. She always got what she wanted. So maybe she was kind of like a spoiled brat and something just broke in her mind. If you're still here, I'm glad you stayed with me. Um, Give me a like, maybe a subscribe, comment what you think. Let me know if you know anything about this place. If you've been there, let me know. Give me a story. I'd love to hear it. I would. But as always, watch your back. Be careful out there. Come back next week. I have something coming in. I'll be looking it up. But be careful and don't talk to strangers.